The Wrong Door. A night my life could have ended. A chilling mystery unfolds when a young man moves into a quiet apartment, only to hear knocking from a door that should not exist. What happens next will stay with you forever. A mysterious door, a night full of knocking, and a truth that was never meant to be discovered. This is a dramatic mystery story based on psychological tension, suspense, and an eerie supernatural twist. If you enjoy unsettling discoveries, dark secrets, and slow-building dread, this story is for you. More stories coming soon. Subscribe for weekly mystery tales. #mystery story, #horror story, #drama story, #creepy tale, #narration, #true style story. Leonardo AI thumbnail prompt. High quality 16:9 or 1:1. A dark, narrow apartment hallway at night, illuminated by a flickering overhead light. At the center, a young man stands frozen, staring at an old, weathered wooden door with a glowing crack of light beneath it. The door looks ancient and out of place compared to the modern hallway. A shadowy handprint is faintly visible on the door. Cinematic horror lighting, high contrast, dramatic shadows, suspenseful atmosphere. Photorealistic, sharp details, YouTube thumbnail style. Full story, English version, 3,500 to 4,000 words. The Wrong Door, translated from the original Uzbek draft, preserving tone, pacing, and dramatic tension. The Wrong Door. Full story, 4,000 words. When I first moved into apartment 213, nothing stood out. The building was old, yes, but not in a way that felt threatening, just tired. The hallways smelled faintly of dust and forgotten furniture, and the walls carried the marks of decades of tenants. It was affordable, close to my work, and more importantly, quiet. At least that's what the landlord told me. "It stays peaceful here," he said, handing me the keys. "Everyone minds their own business." I remember nodding, believing him. If only I had known what waited behind one of the doors on my floor. A door that, according to the building plans, was never supposed to exist. My first night there was uneventful. I unpacked slowly, cooked instant noodles, and listened to the dull hum of the heater. Around 1 a.m., I stepped outside to throw away some trash. As I returned to the hallway, I noticed something strange. Halfway down the corridor stood a door I hadn't seen earlier. Old, wooden, and darker than all the others. Apartment numbers in the building were metal plates screwed into each door. Shiny, standard, identical. But this door had no number. Just a blank, scratched wooden surface. I stared at it for a few seconds. Had I passed it earlier? No, I was certain I hadn't. I brushed it off. Maybe I hadn't been paying attention. I walked back into my apartment, locked my door, and went to sleep. If I had listened closely that night, I might have heard something. A faint tapping, almost like someone knocking. But I slept through. 2 nights later, everything changed. It was 3:12 a.m. when I woke up to the sound. Knock, knock, knock. Slow, deliberate, spaced out by a few seconds. The kind of knocking someone makes when they aren't entirely sure they want you to answer. At first, I thought it was coming from my door. But as I approached, I realized it came from out in the hallway. I opened my door slowly and peeked out. The hallway was dimly lit, silent, empty. But then it came again. Knock, from the old wooden door. I froze. A cold chill crawled up my spine. Someone was inside. I stepped closer, cautiously. "Hello?" I whispered. The knocking stopped instantly. I waited. Silence. Then, suddenly, tap, tap, tap. Like fingernails dragging along the wood from the inside. I stumbled back, completely shaken. The next morning, when the sun lit the hallway, I checked the door again. The wood looked older, drier, as if it hadn't been touched in years. But I knew what I heard. I needed answers. So I knocked on the closest neighbor's door, an elderly woman. She opened slowly, her eyes tired but alert. "Sorry to bother you," I began. I just wanted to ask if you know who lives in that apartment. Before I finished the sentence, her face paled. You heard it, didn't you? She whispered. My heart skipped. Heard what? She looked at the ground, then at the mysterious door. That door, she said quietly, shouldn't be there. I felt my skin prickle. She continued, voice low and trembling. I have lived here 26 years. That door wasn't always there. It appeared one night after a terrible incident. What incident? I asked. She backed away slightly. Don't go near it. Don't knock. And if you ever hear it knocking, do not answer. Before I could ask more, she shut her door and locked it. The next week was torture. Every night, somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m., the sounds began. Not knocking this time, scratching. Soft, slow, persistent. Shh, shh, like nails dragging down the wood. Some nights it lasted 30 seconds, others nearly an hour. I began losing sleep. I stopped going into the hallway at night, stopped checking the door. But the sounds continued, night after night, until one morning I stepped into the hallway and froze. The wooden door was covered in marks. Long, deep scratches carved into the surface. Some fresh, some old. It looked like someone had been clawing at it for days. My hands trembled as I approached. Just inches from the wood, I felt warmth. The door was warm, as if someone was standing right behind it, watching me. I confronted the landlord that afternoon. There's a door on my floor that isn't in the building layout, I said angrily. Someone is inside it. They're knocking. They're scratching. I want to know who lives there. He looked at me with a strange expression, confusion mixed with fear.